When I talk about the work-life balance, and when I've talked about it in other sessions, I get this image. One of my favorite works of fiction of my life is a book called A Fine Balance by Rohinton Mistry. How many have read that book? Anyone in here? On the cover of that book, there's a man with a bamboo pole. The pole is probably about 8 to 10 feet long, and presumably it's his son, probably about 4, 5, 6 years old. The pole is balanced on his thumb. His arm is up in the air like this. And the pole is balanced on his thumb like this, and his son is at the top of that pole in balance. And it speaks to the book, but it was such a powerful image for me that it has always resonated for me. And it's been at least 10, 15 years since I've read that book. But I think about that fine balance and think about many of the things that the speakers have already said when I'm considering this. So far in my career, 23 years in, 8 years as a head of school, this is what I think. So I tweeted this about an hour and a half ago, and the tweet went like this. In this age of social media, decided to tweet it out first. Exercise, cognize, socialize, compartmentalize, hermitize, and regularly indulge to maintain the head of school work-life balance. So what I want to do is explain a little bit about each of those 6 in the next 4.5 minutes or so. But I'm going to beg your participation in my speech. I have integrated some titles of some fairly well-known pop and rock and roll classics, the titles of these songs from over the last 30, 40 years. When you recognize the title of the song and you know who the performers of the songs are, just shout it out, okay? Just shout it out really loud. And the fact that we had happy hour before this session probably will help me. So exercise. Yes, science demonstrates all kinds of physical benefits. Your bones, your muscles, your tendons, your ligaments, your joints will all function better. Unwanted weight will be controlled. Health conditions and diseases will have a better chance of being prevented. Yes, all that's true. You'll have more energy. You'll sleep better. Yes, all that's true. But I like the psychological benefits. I think about it, I've thought about this anecdote over the years. I tend to exercise in the morning because who wants to exercise after a long day at school? So I exercise in the morning, and one of the things that I say to folks is, you know what? Even if the day goes to hell, at least you've got that exercise in and one good thing has happened in that day. And some mornings, that's got me out of bed. Thus, so you are not living on a prayer, exercise. Besides, after exercising, you will not feel guilty about enjoying some American pie. Second, cognize. Find activities that challenge your brain in ways that are different from the way that you usually think for most of the day at work. So, in short, find ways to exercise your brain. So I've gone through phases in my life. I've gone through the Sudoku phase. I've gone through the crossword puzzle phase. I've gone through the going through the bridge phase. It's a sign that I'm getting closer to retirement. I'm going through the bridge phase right now. I am also going through the puzzling phase. So there are about 7,000, 8,000 piece puzzles around my house. All of them serve, primarily as different ways to think, and they also serve as a very good distraction from what I would think about if I wasn't doing those very engaging cognitive activities. So cognize. One other point on cognize is, and this is the best category to fit this one in, go back to a go-to read every once in a while. So I read Stephen Covey's 7 Habits books every 3 to 4 years because I found it is the most essential book that I've ever read in terms of just helping me with the most complex problems and situations and dilemmas that heads of school have to deal with. And he just gets down to the moral and ethical principles at the base of those issues. So find a way, find a read and go back to it that really grounds you. When you do, you'll find yourself saying, I did it my way. Socialize. You must have friends who really do not care that you're the head of school of Super Duper XY Academy. Compartmentalize. All things in their place. This is really hard for me, but all things in their place. I really have to work on this one. Really helps me to know about it. There's a psychological construct. The construct of control or perceived control is very important in terms of managing stress and anxiety. How much control do you perceive you have over a situation? And I really have to work hard of structuring my life so I feel that I have all things in their place. So a couple of examples. Find your happy time, your best time to do your most difficult work, your time to write, your time to read, your time to have that difficult meeting. Find the time that works for you in the course of the day or the week. I would also suggest that you intentionally save time for reflection so you can imagine the possibilities. Hermitize, made up this word, because your job is so public and servant-oriented. This really goes out to the introverts in the room. I really am an introvert by nature. Your job is so public. You spend your day solving problems, putting out fires, listening, receiving information. I find that I need to go find a shadow to hide in when I come home from work. I need about a half an hour, 45 minutes of nothing. And I've referred to it myself as finding a shadow to hide in. And when you do, I feel that you'll become comfortably numb. Thank you. Finally, regularly indulge. Again, because the job is about perpetually giving your time and your ear and your heart and your soul. Find an indulgence. So you are not saying, I can't get no satisfaction with life. Something that lights my fire is Starbucks. So every morning, you'll see me, they have my pictures on the wall, Carruthers and Baker's Bridge in Franklin, Tennessee. I'm in Starbucks. I get my coffee. Thank goodness I only get a regular coffee. Otherwise, that'd be half my salary at Starbucks. But there's something. The coffee's good. I guess I'm a bit of a coffee snob, but it's more of an indulgence. More of an indulgence. So, in closing, so if you're saying to yourself, I still haven't found what I'm looking for, but rather, what a wonderful world, you might try some of these things. Thank you.